All right, it is 7:50 a.m. on March 19th, 2024, and this is the presence of what is absolutely impossible light activity, unnatural light, engineered light, as I have referred to it. You are looking at what are closed blinds in my living room, and you are looking at what is magnification of light. This normal sunlight does not create magnification or multiple shadows. It doesn't have layers upon layers of light, which I've also shown you. You'll have one layer of light, which is the concentrated light, but even beneath this, you've seen the magnification where you'll see my shadow that is magnified in size standing up onto the ceilings. That level of magnification. This is just one layer of light, and this is under the illusion that this is sunlight, where the entity is maintaining directed light, engineered light 24 hours a day, including at nightfall, which you've also seen inside and also outside of my private space, where an entity is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. You're looking at the engineered light that's reaching across into the depths of my apartment. That's the carpet, those closed blinds, and this is the pattern that is magnified in size that's appearing on the door. I took pictures of it. It was appearing on the bedroom wall, okay? And then the entity is just cycling it through. It has nothing to do with what is the light source that you see. This concentrated light is present, as I've documented it, when the light source is not even present to create what is the false and unintelligent illusion that you're looking at the sun and sunlight. The entity is engaging what is stalking with light, and the engineered light is one method. And I want you to see at 7:50 a.m. the presence of a light source. All right, this is the light source and in perfect alignment with me. This is called group stalking in this specific environment. The entity is maintaining a light source, and while you are, again, analyzing what is this, isolating the universe to where I'm at, in other words, identifying the specific environment by virtue of the entity's pattern of conduct in the specific environment, and at the venue, okay? So you're identifying the specific environment by the entity's creation of what is supposed to appear on the surface as the natural environment, and you're seeing it's not the natural environment. The entity is rising the sun, all right, and also setting the sun through my bedroom window. And that's what you saw yesterday evening after 5 o'clock after I got off. And that entity moved that light source from alignment to my office window, and then you could see it through my bedroom window. That's not the same position. The entity is moving that light source just like you have seen while I was in the Uber vehicle. Uber is a third-party group stalker, and the third party that was driving that vehicle. Understand those are two aspects of the entity. The driver is a third-party group stalker, and the instruments, the methods whereby the people of the state are engaging in group stalking. That commercial means, in other words, they are a group stalker and they will be civilly and criminally prosecuted. So the entity is maintaining a light source. So you saw that light source over me at 12:20 when I got in the vehicle, and that light source moved in real time and remained in its central place, in its zenith, in other words, while I left the property. At no time of day do you see this light source move from what is beside 1810 for the duration of the day, okay? And that was capturing what is the pattern of conduct. The pattern of conduct is keeping the light source from the beginning of the day till the end of the day, and also maintaining the specific environment. That is even on a cloudy day, even on a rainy day. You're looking at, I've showed you what is the engineered light, the impossible light activity even in the shade. You've seen the third-party group stalkers, these are demon-possessed individuals who are engaging in what is the maintenance of the specific environment. That is getting in the path of the targeted individual. Just like you see this in my path with light, demons do the same thing. They get in your path with light. They'll use their headlights. They'll use a flashlight. They'll use a lighter. They'll use building lights. You'll see lights that and I've seen that plenty of times, walking literally out in public on the streets, even at nightfall, and the entity uses the street lamps as a method of light activity, so they will be out in the moment that I walk by them, the street lamps will come on. The third-party group stalkers that live in relevant position that are monitoring with the entity, they use their lights on their properties as a method of light activity as I cross paths with them. This is the same thing that you see when the third-party group stalkers are driving by and you see impossible light activity, just like you saw Christopher on the ons of 1818 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 4, engaging in what is crossing path conduct, and after driving by, I just want you to see that's a third-party group stalker that's monitoring down there. The entity is, you have what is crossing path in a vehicle and impossible light activity swiping across building 1800. All right, that's impossible light. It's also the mark of demon possession. That is speaking to the unmistakable and irreducible direct evidence of what is a group stalker and a demon possessed one who is targeting the targeted individual on behalf of the state that is operating a system that is identifiable through the environment. This is a demonic system. Okay, this is a state, in other words, that is practicing that which is satanic. All right, so you have things that are supernatural that are occurring, and you just have to pay attention to it. And all I'm doing is pointing that out. But let me be clear, it's not impervious to prosecution, and its criminalization is what you are witnessing. So the entity is maintaining a light source over me from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. That's one frame of analysis. That's impossible. The sun is in constant movement. If this was the natural environment, and it's 7:55 now, the sun would be in constant movement, and it would not be over Alvarado Gardens in not even an hour from now, okay? The light source, the sun just keeps on moving. If you were blessed with the ability to see the sunrise, that's a wonderful thing. Great, enjoy the view. The entity keeps this light source all day long, and then it remains in alignment to me while I go to my office, which is beside building 1810. And it remains there, as you have seen, for an excess of 6 hours from one side of building 1810 to the opposite side of building 1810. And then it is setting at 5 p.m. where you are still in between building 1800 and 18. That's the view of where I'm standing diagonally from my office. And then as I go to my apartment, it is seen over building 1818. Yeah, that's not the sun that is rising and setting at one property, okay? Nor is that the sun that is visible in any other state. It's not even visible on any other block. It is never going anywhere past what is the Alvarado Gardens, this venue. You're talking about Glendale Boulevard, basically. But what are you paying attention to? Because in other states, in other counties, in Northern California, for example, they're looking at the sun. You can't see the sun while it's remaining here, and while it's remaining here all day, first of all. That's telling you something about the environment that is not as natural as we have been told about. You're seeing what is the maintenance of what's supposed to be sunlight all over the grounds, okay? Regardless of the position of this light source, it remains here, all right? Speaking to what's supposed to be sunlight inside of my apartment, very specific placement of the light source and maintenance of that light source for the duration of the day, but yet you'll see what is light that's appearing all over as though the sun is over everything at the same time. And that's not the case either. And common sense dictates this. The sun is in constant movement. By virtue of that constant movement, it is not maintaining a zenith presence over everyone at the same time for the duration of the day. Okay? So this is speaking to what is inevitable. All right? Which, again, this is something that cannot be approached. That somebody is lying about what's going on in the environment. Okay? The entity is engaging in the state of California. All right? I'm going to keep it down to what the state of California is doing. This is a satanic targeting system. And it is evident through the environment. And I want to let you know about what is demonic. It is demonic to engage in what is presence in the path with methods of light. Also, the character of this light, this multiple shadows on the ceiling, light appearing above you, magnification, the distorted images and what the light activity as I document and even speak of the demonic, all of that's demonic. The character of the very light is demonic. The maintenance of this light source when I'm in movement in real time, when you're seeing that, that's demonic. Okay, you're witnessing the demonic. The stalking, the obsessive stalking by the people of the state and by the state directly, that's inspired by the demonic. These are people that have that are suffering from demon possession. All right, but it's criminal. Okay, so I'm not in here pleading for what is a baptism. Okay, I am documenting for what is going to be a federal prosecution. They're in violation of Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. They are also in violation of other federal laws, which I will not expound upon here. I want to be clear, but there are more, and I also advocate the creation of additional federal laws because the ability to specifically legislate around this is fully within the grasp of the federal government, of the states. You can legislate around this. And this is based on the criminal intent, the criminal practices. And you don't ever have to speak on that which would be within some religious, you don't have to speak on demon possession. It's gonna be referred to as malice. All right, you don't have to speak, and impunity and obsession, just like any other stalker. But under federal group stalking and monitoring, the stalker is the state. All right, that's what's so unprecedented. The stalker is the state, and the stalker are the people of the state who are in the position of the state. That's why you surround with the environment. That's why you surround with that. And their surrounding with that environment is plain to see, especially upon documentation. So at 7:50 a.m., why did I pick this timestamp? Because I've got another vivid illustration for you. At 7:50 in the morning, I am at the intersection of Euclid Avenue and Arrow in Upland, California at the Upland City Hall, okay, which is adjacent to the Upland Public Library, where you have seen the entity setting its light source after 5 p.m., still visible through the roof of that Upland Public Library, very exclusive sky space. The sun doesn't under any circumstances remain over one address, but that's what the entity was doing up in California. That's what the entity is doing in Los Angeles, California. The two are not coexisting at the same time. P.O.C. It's also not happening at either one of those venues, P.O.C., okay? The entity is engaging in what is maintaining a light source while I'm at the intersection of Euclid Avenue and Arrow in Upland, California. You see the light source in alignment to me. The entity is group stalking via the people of the state. And like I said, it is indiscriminate. You have masses, hundreds of people crossing path in their vehicles, and you see what is impossible light. Sunlight does not ricochet off of your vehicle like you saw that demon of 1818 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 4, crossing path in the parking lot of Alvarado Gardens, and impossible light swiping across building 1818. That's the mark of a third-party group stalker, and specifically it's the mark of demon possession, one that's engaging in the criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring. And on this video that I will remind you of at 7:50 in the morning in Upland, California, where there would never be any sun visible through my apartment in Los Angeles at this hillside, nor would it be remaining for the duration of the day. None of this would ever happen. None of this sunlight would ever be present if that was actually the sun in Upland, California, like I documented it. All right, and you also have, under no circumstances is this is engineered light. It's never going to be present because it's not even natural, in the same way that this is not natural. And a vivid reminder of that is what the entity was doing when I documented at 7:50 in the morning in Upland, California. All right, the two are not occurring at the same time. You cannot see this and see it in the same sentence presence. And also, it's also not the fact that the sun is some hovering object over all of us, and we're all looking at it from the same vantage point everywhere we're at in, for example, let's just say Southern California. But it's not limited to Southern California. Understand what the entity is doing. This would be the whole, I want to say the whole world, but that's not the case. You know this. You know this because of what we've been told about the natural environment. That's impossible. That's impossible that that's the sun, like I documented it at 7:50 in the morning, and that this is the sun, even as I isolated here, but also as you compare it, you juxtapose it with what the entity was doing in Upland, California. I cannot see the sun, and I cannot see anything that's going on in the sky space from Upland, California at Arrow Boulevard and Euclid Avenue at the same time or at any time of the day. And it would be impossible that the sun would ever be in Alvarado Gardens while it remains present over me in Upland, California, like I specifically documented for a very specific purpose, because the entity is going to be prosecuted for what is stalking in plane and helicopter in the specific environment. In the very specific environment, that's called crossing path. The entity uses commercial airline planes like I heavily documented in the Inland Empire. All right, and an airport is speaking to what is a facilitating venue in the specific environment. So the federal government is looking at what are these airports for these helicopters and these airports where these commercial airline planes. The entity is group stalking, engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and doing so while with the intent to cross state lines. I'm referencing Title 18 right now. With the intent to cross state lines, engaging in federal group stalking, using their commercial means in doing so. So you're talking about criminal and civil prosecution. I documented every airline at the Ontario airport. The entity maintained the light source over the Ontario airport. At no time of day is the sun ever going to be in any angle where I would ever see it, ever, okay, while it remained over me while I documented the Ontario airport, okay? The entity was engaging in conduct such that the sun is over the Ontario airport at all times of the day. And the entity amplifying plane activity, hovering down low with amplified plane activity. Like I've documented all of this. So this is speaking to, again, a specific time frame, 7:50 in the morning at Arrow Boulevard and Euclid Avenue. This is speaking to the pattern of conduct. And it is mutually exclusive. None of this is ever going to be the result. This is an entity that is stalking with light. That's highly demonic. It's going to be prosecuted as terrorism. This is an entity that is stalking with the light source. This is highly malicious by a government that's placing you under surveillance, unbeknownst to you. And it is also doing it in that specific environment that is maintained by those who maintain vicarious presence on behalf of that entity. That is group stalking both directly, that I'm referencing the demons that are engaged in corruption. That is the Los Angeles Police Department, group stalking. Okay, very plain evidence of that. Monitoring even the ongoing documentation of it. That's relevant to the ways in which those demons are going to be removed and punished. Okay, the entity is engaging, and by the way, let me document that. The entity is engaging in that which is literally occurring in the phenomenon. And I also want to remind you about what the Los Angeles Police Department, I want you to see that magnification, okay? This is magnification of light. The entity engaging in group stalking by helicopter today while I was inside at nightfall, group stalking at around 5:30 in the morning, 5:40, 6:15, 6:35 in the morning. The entity maintaining group presence, monitoring via helicopter in the specific environment. This is the entity, and I just want to make sure I document that. The entity is engaged in ongoing obsessive stalking, and the entity uses helicopters to do that. That's for the federal government to be aware of and for the federal government to handle. It is currently 8:04 a.m., and this is P.O.C.